October 19th, the 21st day of me recording this series, and I know the intro is great. We're not gonna play rock paper scissors today, but you could catch it in any other video. You feel me? Just tune in for some and watch the rest of this video. It honestly would mean a lot to me. We're gonna start it out a little bit slower, and I want to start it out with a question: how are you spending your time with God? You have to evaluate the time that you're spending with God. Are you spending it in peace, talking, expressing thankfulness and a desire to serve? Are you placing yourself before Him, asking for things, and telling Him your problems, and sharing your heart with Him? Are you putting things into His hands, and letting Him deal with things? Are you taking yourself to Him at times where it might not be convenient? Are you bringing yourself before God when you feel like there's nothing else you could do and you can only rely on Him and His understanding? Are you placing yourself before Him without a true faith that He is who He says He is? Are you doubting God in your time that you're spending with Him? Are you worshiping Him as you should? Are you worshiping in all spirit and in truth? Ask such things, and just evaluate the time that you're spending with God. How much time are you spending with God? Are you reading? Are you praying? Are you denying yourself? Are you actually seeking Him for yourself and knowing a true relationship with Him and desiring to be more like Christ every single day? Evaluate such things. We're going to go ahead and read a verse before I jump into these next notes. And it's 2 Corinthians 5:16. Whoa, wait. Dang it. Hold on. 5:17. I had it. Okay, so it reads, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to Himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the world to Himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them, and He has committed to us the message of reconciliation." The next note that I wanted to reiterate is that bad habits, sinful ways, sinful patterns sometimes won't just go away as you're being purified, sanctified, and justified. If you were living in the world for such a long time, if you were being driven a certain way by society, the people that you love, the people that you've been around for a long time, if you've been living deeply in sin and you've come into agreement with a lot of things, and you've been feeding bad habits, bad issues, addictions, all types of things that just recurring and are of the world. If you've been feeding such things, although they can happen overnight, sometimes they won't. I'll say it like that. Although they can happen overnight, because we know through Christ anything is possible, sometimes they won't just go away, and sometimes they require you to work and allow God to work on you and your life and work through situations, work through people, work through your heart, honestly, work through your heart and your mind and your soul to get rid of all that baggage that you had from the past, just, being stuck in giving place to Satan, and being stuck in different things such as depression or anxiety or projections from other people, or doubting yourself, doubting God, placing on yourself insecurities that shouldn't be there. They sometimes can take time, and it's not going to just be a day or two. It might take a year or 2 years, or it might be something that is placed, not necessarily a thorn in your side, but something placed there so that you're always looking towards God, leaning on His understanding and not your own. Things take time, and you got to persevere with a strong determination and faith and persistence to be a child of God in those areas of your life. Like, just think about it, being a child of God in whatever area of your life that you may be struggling in, or you might have been in the world in that area, and now you're looking at it like you're thinking that it's wrong. Just imagine what it's like as a child of God who allows God to work on them in those aspects, and to have a life without those bad things, to have a life that not to talk down on them, obviously, but have a life separate from such things, and having joy and peace in those areas of your life. This got to be the best lighting right here. I got to stick right here. I ain't gonna lie. Continually working and allowing God to deliver you and break those chains off your lives, off your mind. You know, it's a beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful process, but you got to allow God to do such things, and you have to be determined to work at seeking God and work at seeking him in those areas of your life. Breaking certain tendencies will cause you, and breaking certain addictions, certain things that you were tied to, certain things that you were tied down by, they can cause a desire to go back to those things because it's the normal. It's something that you felt was a part of you, something that you feel was right at the time, but there's a way that seems right to a man. I don't want to paraphrase that verse wrong. I don't want to read that verse wrong, and my paper is blowing away. There's a way that seemeth right to a man. And we know that God's ways are not our ways. His ways are higher. His ways are better. And I use the word seek a lot. I long to do the things that Christ does. I long to think the way that Christ does. I long to know the ways of Christ and to follow his ways, you know. When you're breaking through these things and breaking these chains off of your life, there's almost like a pull back, like, you know, like, don't go, don't leave. This is, you know, if you leave, you like, as you're exiting, it's like almost like you're walking out a door, you know, and you end up, you want to look back. You want to look back because through that door was all these different riches and different things that you thought were actually what they were, but they're just illusions. They were just illusions of you know, or mockers or imitators of the real thing, you know. And it's like you're walking out this door and you're pushing, you're pulling, and it's like as you're walking out this door, it's not the easiest door to go out of. So it's like, oh, I could go back because I might get stuck, you know. But you know you're not gonna get stuck, so just don't go back. That might not have been like the best what figure of speech was that? I don't even know. But yeah, that's a little something there, you know, as you're working through things, as you're coming out of certain battles, as you're pushing through and breaking through, there will be a desire, or a desire that is opposed to the knowledge of Christ, or a feeling of pulling back towards those areas. And you have to be aware of this. You do have to be mindful. Now, of course, it depends on what it is, and it could be stronger or it could be weaker, or it could just like you could not even know about it, you know. We're gonna jump into another verse before I end off this video, and it's Romans 6:11. I feel like the meta of my videos is like at least 8 minutes. I ain't gonna lie. Romans 6:11. Okay. And speaking of like the different things that you could break through, and addictions and bad habits and cycles and things that you've been tied down on, in the same way, count yourselves dead to sin, but alive to God in Christ Jesus. Therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires. Do not offer any part of yourself to sin as an instrument of wickedness, but rather offer yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life, and offer every part of yourself to him as an instrument of righteousness. For sin shall no longer be your master, because you are not under the law, but under grace. Sin's dead, bro. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to live an everlasting life. Ooh. All right, we're gonna end off this video. We're at like almost 10 minutes, but you already know, as always, be you. Evaluate your relationship with God. Evaluate how you're spending your time. honestly evaluate your life and evaluate where God is in your life as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. We out.